Welcome to today's meeting of Bass Coast Shire Council, Wednesday the 14th of December 2022. Live streaming. As the meeting chair, I give my consent for this open council meeting to be streamed live, recorded and published online in accordance with council's live streaming policy and governance rules. Members of the public joining us in the gallery today, by attending this public meeting of the council, you are consenting to your image, voice and comments being recorded and published. The Chair or CEO have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances where deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate or unacceptable behaviour in comments. Thank you. A reminder to turn off all mobile phones, or in the case of an emergency, please advise the Chair and switch to silent mode. Statement of acknowledgement. Bass Coast Shire Council acknowledge the Bunurong as the traditional owners and custodians of the lands and waters and pays respect to their elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the traditions, the culture and law. Bass Coast Shire Council celebrates the opportunity to embrace and empower the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island communities in their diversity. Bass Coast Shire Council will create opportunities for future recognition and respectful partnerships that will honour the traditional owners and custodians and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. I now call on Councillor David Rooks to read the councillor statement, please.
All members of this council pledge to the Bass Coast Shire community to consider every item listed on this agenda, based on the individual merits of each item, without bias or prejudice, by maintaining an open mind and disregarding councillors' personal interests so as to avoid any conflict with our public duty. Any councillor having a conflict of interest in an item will make a proper prior disclosure to the meeting and will not participate in the debate or vote on the issue.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. For all councillors present, no apologies. We have no declarations of interest for today's meeting. Confirmation of the minutes. We have a resolution that the minutes of the council meeting held on the 16th of November 2022 be confirmed. Can I have a councillor to move and a councillor to second? That's Councillor Bauer, Councillor Tessari. Those in favour, against, carried. Public question time. So I will be reading out the questions and the General Manager will read out the answers. In the first instance, we have 3 questions that have been brought together and a single answer will be provided. Question 1. Susie Wicks. It's about the Sun and Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. The scheme is abandoned if 51% or more objections are received. Is the scheme also abandoned if 51% or more yes votes are not received? If the majority of votes were no, but didn't equate to 51%, would councillors decide? Question 2, Mike Marr. Why are non-responses being included in the vote tally and arbitrarily declared as a yes voted instead of being excluded from the vote count as what happens in any democratic election process? Why doesn't both the online and postal survey forms have an option up front that simply states do nothing to avoid confusing people who want to simply vote no? Gillian Mitchell. Upon declaration of a special charge scheme, is non-response by a ratepayer treated by council as a positive for the scheme or a negative against the proposed scheme? Does the Local Government Act around special charge schemes provide specific guidance as to whether non-response by a ratepayer to the declaration of a scheme is treated as positive or negative?
Through the Mayor. Section 163 of the Local Government Act 1989 sets out the requirements of council in relation to a special charge scheme. Property owners that do not respond to notification of a road and drainage improvement project and associated special charge are not counted as for or against the project. A special charge scheme can proceed if there is less than 51% overall support and or less than 51% objections from the community, and the project and its special charge is supported through the formal declaration process at a council meeting. Councillors will be required to decide on the potential road and drainage project once they provide notice of intention to declare the scheme at a future date, and if there is less than 51% objections from the property owners in response to the notification. The latest community engagement questionnaire is to determine a preferred road and drainage concept design option to address the problems of the estate such as dust, flooding and safety concerns. This preferred concept option will be considered by council for potential progression to determine the total costs and options for proportioning costs.
Maxine Sando, topic Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. What contribution is the PINP oblique Vic Roads making towards the cost of the Esplanade proposed road, curb and drainage works in regard to the special charge scheme, Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay? How many ratepayers are currently listed in Sunderland Bay Surf Beach?
Point of clarification, Mayor Whelan.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Lark.
The first lot of questions were answered with reference to the 1989 Local Government Act instead of the 2020 Government Act. Now, it might be in transition, I'm not sure, but...
Well, hold on, Councillor Lark, I'll ask the General Manager to explain.
Through the Mayor, the Act that refers to the special charge schemes is still the 1989 Local Government Act.
Okay, thank you.
So,
I'll read that question again. Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. What contribution is the PINP oblique Vic Roads making towards the cost of the Esplanade proposed road, curb and drainage works in regard to the Special Charges Scheme, Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay? How many ratepayers are currently listed in Sunderland Bay Surf Beach?
no financial contribution is required from Phillip Island Nature Parks or the Department of Transport, formerly Vic Roads, for the potential road and drainage upgrades within Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay estates. There are currently 1,037 rateable properties in Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay.
Dr Kathleen McCann, again, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Will Council engage an independent body such as the Victorian Electoral Commission to oversee the process of collecting submissions that support or object to the implementation of the proposed Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach roads and drainage projects so that transparency can be assured given the enormous cost to ratepayers?
Council will manage the process of collecting submissions and objections to proposed road and drainage upgrade projects and any associated special charge schemes in accordance with the Local Government Act.
David Clements, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. How long will the ratepayers be given to submit their yes or no vote on the scheme? Will the yes or no vote be only on the preferred options of council or extended to options that the ratepayers actually want?
In accordance with legislation, property owners will be given at least 28 days to lodge submissions of support or objection if council issues a notice of intention to declare a special charge scheme. Council's intention to declare a special charge scheme would be based on the preferred concept design option if adopted by council following the project's planning and preliminary consultation stage.
Fran Boyd, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Is consideration being made to protecting local fauna such as short-tailed shearwater? And what measures are you taking to mitigate impacts to this species? Will you be conducting surveys for growling grass frog, and when are they being conducted? Will these assessments be referred to the Department of Environment, Land, Water and Planning? And will you be going through the EPBC Act referral process for impacts to important migratory bird habitat, short-tailed shearwaters, which are protected by legislation?
Consideration to protecting and mitigating impacts to local flora and fauna will be undertaken in accordance with due diligence reports. Targeted surveys will be undertaken if the project is supported to progress into the construction phase. All legislative requirements will be followed.
Sue Henderson, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Has consideration been made to local opinion regarding the road infrastructure upgrades, and what measures have you taken in adapting your development plan to meet the needs of the community? Why is the special charge scheme detailed costing per property only being provided to ratepayers after they are required to vote?
Extensive community consultation is being undertaken to develop a preferred road and drainage improvement project in conjunction with the community. Individual costs per property are not worked out until after a preferred concept plan is developed for consideration and adoption by council.
Natasha Dunstan, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Can council please provide the total rates collected from Surf Beach Sunderland Bay residents for 2022? Can council please provide the total amount specifically allocated to road maintenance and drainage maintenance for Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay?
Part 1, $2,316,326.36, which includes the fire services protection levy and garbage charge. Part 2, council budgets for services across the entire municipality and does not break down maintenance budgets by area.
And Clement, Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Is council on track with the timeline presented to the community for the Sunderland Bay Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme? What month will council seek submission from ratepayers for the yes or no vote? How will council contact ratepayers for their submission, email or letter?
Council is on track with the road and drainage improvement project for Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay estates. If council adopt a preferred concept design, it is likely that council will consider a report in June 2023 to consider whether to provide a notice of intention to declare a special charge scheme. If there is a decision to proceed, then property owners will be given at least 28 days to provide submissions of support or objection. Council will contact property owners via registered post to provide notice.
Gavin O'Connor, topic Sunderland Bay and Surf Beach Special Charge Scheme. Given the dust from gravel roads, poor drainage causing potholes, flooding and mosquito breeding grounds and ditches due to the failed road network and lack of safe pedestrian access, how will the Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay roads upgrade improve the health, wellbeing and livability for our community and future generations?
The potential road and drainage upgrade project will reduce the dust and flooding risk and improve safety, access, health, wellbeing and livability of property owners in Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay estates.
Amanda Nodke-Bencraft, topic Surf Beach Esplanade. Can BCSC please advise what will happen to the current foot traffic only section of the Esplanade in Surf Beach, running from house numbers 132 to 142? Will it remain as is or will it become a made road open to through traffic? Is it true that the due diligence study quotes, Biodiversity Overview Assessment, end quotes, 2022-11-28 of Sunderland Bay Surf Beach, commissioned by BCSC, identified the entirety of both estates to be categorised as location 2, meaning they include areas mapped as endangered EBCs and or sensitive wetlands of coastal areas.
The section of the Esplanade in Surf Beach with foot traffic only is not planned to be open for vehicle access. The area of Surf Beach and Sunderland Bay is categorised as location 1, which occurs over the most of Victoria.
Meg Edwards offshore wind project. Will council advocate to protect our coast? A moratoria is required on any wind projects impacting until proper consultation has occurred that covers full environmental impacts to marine and bird life, productive farming land, tourism, natural pristine and coastal areas, full term of life for infrastructure from construction, installation and decommissioning.
Council recently made a submission to the Commonwealth Government notice to declare an area process regarding offshore wind. Council actively supports the transition to renewable energy and accepts that the Victorian coastline has significant potential for wind power. However, Council raised several concerns specific to the West Coast. These include the effects on native flora and fauna, the visual impact for globally iconic views and economic impacts, such as the loss of local amenity in onshore works. Further to this, Council expressed concern regarding local government's capacity with limited resources to effectively play its role in the planning and approval of projects. These impacts are expected to be the subject of multiple studies before any projects commence. Whilst these processes are managed by the Commonwealth and Victorian governments, Council will continue to advocate to all levels of governments for a balanced and sustainable outcome.
Stacey Shine, South Dudley Special Roads and Drainage Scheme. Some South Dudley residents had to pay additional personal costs to fix drainage issues that were created as a result of their special roads and drainage scheme. What are the results of the customer satisfaction survey of ratepayers in the areas where these schemes have been completed?
There are no customer satisfaction survey results available for the road and drainage upgrade at South Dudley.
Tim Lightfoot, Capital Works Projects 1, Project 100743 is a completed project as of 30 September 2022. What is the overall cost from start to finish for this project? And 2, Project 100744 was reported to be complete as of 30 September 22. What is the overall cost from start to finish of this project?
Council has expended a total of $441,708 on Project 100743 Dalston flood lighting and $387,859 on Project 100744 Cowes Wreck Reserve flood lighting from commencement of the projects to their completion.
Malcolm Pinkerton, Capital Works projects, I'm going to put these two questions together. Project 100787 and Project 100376 were reported complete as of 30 September 2022. What is the overall cost from start to finish for the project?
Council has expended a total of $79,356 on project 100787, roof and gutter renewal, and $928,617 on project 100376, surf parade, from commencement of the projects to their completion.
Graham Jolly, Capital Works Projects. Council's first quarterly (30 September 2022) Capital Works spreadsheet reports financial figures under a heading of last posted forecast. What do the financial figures mean in terms of the approved budget plus carryovers?
Last posted forecast reports the forecast expenditure for a project during the financial year. Approved budget plus carryover is the budget available for a project.
Graham Jolly, Acting Chief, topic is Acting Chief Executive. I thought you had the title there for a minute. Would Council please explain the process councillors must follow to appoint an Acting Chief Executive Officer?
The process for appointing an acting CEO is set out in Council's CEO employment and remuneration policy.
That brings us to petitions, of which there are none, and we have notices of motion. F1, and I call on Councillor Bauer to read out his notice of motion, alteration to the Nobel Prize and Basco Shire Citizen of the Year to include a category. I think I just did it for you, Councillor Bauer, but you may like to read it without actually speaking to it.
The motion, F1 motion to put an agenda item up for the next Mayors Association Victoria meeting, to petition the Office of Prime Minister to petition the Nobel Prize Committee to add a new category, sustainability of the planet.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Is there a seconder for that notice of motion? Councillor Kent. Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. From the outset, I agree that this will probably be the most left field motion that I will ever introduce. What on earth does the Nobel Prize have to do anything with our council activities? Well, please hear me out. Firstly, Bass Coast has declared a climate emergency. Renewable sustainability is conditio sine qua non to our Shire mission statement, and even to the point that tenderers must show how they use their best practices for any job they undertake. Every mayor's message in the Sentinel and the Advertiser stresses our commitment to these principles. We ask every resident to do their bit, with the 3 curbside bins being a good example. It is recognised that Bass Coast Shire is ahead of the curve. The original 6 categories of the Nobel Prize, physics, peace, chemistry, literature, mathematics, and physiology or medicine, were introduced in 1901. In 1968, economics was introduced, showing that the categories can be altered from Nobel's original bequest. I've included in my background notes the constitution of the Nobel Prize and the provisions to bring upon alterations to this prize. The world in the 20th century was a totally different place. The current 7 category acknowledge importance of their time. We now live in the 21st century. The world's priorities have evolved. 100 years ago, climate change and sustainability weren't even part of the vocabulary. It is time we recognize the efforts of people who are going above and beyond in tackling the ecological survival of our planet. Individuals on their own, or Bass Coast Shire on its own, will have no impact on the governing body of the Nobel Prize in Sweden. But passing this motion, we are giving our CEO the authority to list this motion as an agenda item on the next Mayors Association of Victoria meeting. If adopted by the MAV, which represents all municipalities of Victoria, can petition the Prime Minister, Office of the Prime Minister, to lobby for this new category. The weight of the Prime Minister is the gravitas that is needed to attract the attention of the Nobel Committee. Australia, throughout its history, has punched above its weight on the world stage, and with the Office of Prime Minister on board, who knows?
You're winding up, Councillor.
Yeah, become a reality. As to the second part of this motion, I'm delighted that on a Shire level, the need to recognise our citizens who have contributed to the sustainability of Bass Coast is ready on the radar and will be recognised as part of our Citizen of the Year ceremony. I'm looking forward to the formal announcement by the Mayor and CEO in the near future. I commend this motion to the chamber.
Thank you, councillor Bauer. Just a correction, I'm sure you meant to say Municipal Association Victoria.
Yes, I did.
What you said, Mayor or Mayor's Association. But anyway, just a correction. Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. As anyone who would know me, I would know that I would say, let's fix up the roads and rubbish first before I would support something like this. But I'm stepping up for this one because basically I think it's a great idea. I think for us to consider recognising somebody locally is fantastic. We're trying to achieve here at council, and I just support 100% what Councillor Bauer is trying to achieve.
Thank you, councillor Kent. Any other councillor wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Rooks.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Whelan. I don't think I'm comfortable with the first part of the motion because I just feel it's out of local council's area, a Nobel Prize in Sweden. And the second part, I think we're covering off in a recommendation later in this council meeting where we're going to be doing some work, or the council officers are going to be doing some work and looking at the different categories. And I look forward to that plan for that bit of work we're going to do. So I won't be supporting the notice of motion.
Thank you, councillor Rooks. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. With respect to Councillor Bauer, I appreciate the intent of his motion. However, I don't think it's the best way for our community to get the best work and outcomes from our council. It's also interesting to note that in 2021, climate scientists were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. So the current structure of the Academy of Sciences Nobel Prize doesn't preclude people from getting the award on climate and sustainability grounds. And, you know, admittedly, council's role has evolved to be more than the old roads, rates and rubbish, but our key role is to listen to the concerns of our community.
Getting a bit of feedback.
Without and representing those needs and concerns in the community, and never in any of that feedback in the entire time I've been a councillor did the community ask for more recognition through the Nobel Prize. It is a famous award, albeit based in Sweden, and I appreciate where Councillor Bauer is coming from, but I think it's more of a thought bubble, and don't particularly want to waste council's time and resources on this, or the Municipal Association of Victoria's time and resources on something that is going to only really just be more of an ego trip than anything. You know, when we're elected to represent the Bass Coast Shire and not the world at large. Yeah, but I really do appreciate the initiative that Councillor Bauer has shown, and I appreciate his passion for elevating the efforts of his council. I just don't think that this is the right way to do it.
Thank you, Councillor Lang. Any other councillor wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll be supporting the motion that Councillor Bauer's put up, and I do get the arguments that are being put forward to council on both sides. But I think that anything that celebrates community members' involvement in sustainability should be grasped and magnified. It is a concern what's happening in the world today. We at a local level are doing obviously all that we can to, you know, talk about sustainability and educate about sustainability. And I think this is at a local level where Councillor Bauer is suggesting a sustainability recognition, I think is a fabulous thing. I think there are people in our community that are doing amazing work in this area. And I think maybe I sort of get what Councillor Lang is saying when she's talking about Nobel Prizes sort of out of our realm. But unless we from the bottom up feed those ideas, then, you know, those people that are responsible for those awards, you know, they don't have all the answers. It often comes from community. And so I get what councillor Bauer's trying to do from a local level and feeding up to that higher level of recognition. I think it's a wonderful thing that he's suggested, so I'll be supporting his notice of motion.
Thank you, councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Sari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I must admit, when I first saw this come through, I chuckled. In fact, I probably more than chuckled, because it's pretty much typical Ronnie or Councillor Bauer. He thinks outside the square, and look, I agree with most of the things that have been said here. One thing I don't agree with, it's certainly no ego trip. Councillor Bauer has certainly thrown this one out there from the heart. And I made the comment in the former council time when I was mayor that why not reach for the sky and land somewhere in between the sky and the ground. So while there probably are more important things going on in our shire right now, I think for the sake of a letter to the MAV, and they decide to take it up, good luck to them. And I don't think Councillor Bauer was probably expecting me to back him on this one, but I will.
Okay, any other councillor wish to speak? If not, councillor Bauer, do you wish to reply, or shall we put it to a vote?
Just quickly, Mr Mayor, though this may have sounded as a far-fetched motion when I first raised it with you, my fellow councillors, I hope you can now see the worth and substance of this motion. Remember, even the fastest jet plane starts from a standing stop. As the saying goes, no planet, none of the other categories matter. So please support this noble cause. Mr Mayor, please put the motion to a vote.
Thank you, councillor Bauer. Those in favour? Against? That's carried. Mayor and councillor reports has become the practice. They will be reported in the minutes, which brings us to the reports requiring a council decision, H1, which is DPO 3 Granville. And Mr Sturton to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present an amended development plan to council for endorsement. The subject land is located at 1517 to 1529 Bass Highway, 6 to 8 Granville Glenelvie Road, and 10 to 12 Granville Glenelvie Road in Granville. The development plan improves site access, improves infrastructure, and benefits the overall layout of the residential development. The development plan was advertised and received one submission, which has been addressed in the report. It's recommended the council resolves to endorse the proposed development plan, subject to the conditions as outlined in the report. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Can I have a councillor to move and a councillor to second that resolution, please? Councillor Lasserve and councillor Holstead. Councillor Lasserve.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This application was before us and refused in July the 20th this year. It's been amended and come back to us. Look, I believe it addresses the issues that we raised at that point in time. It's a development plan overlay schedule 3 that we were debating. I think the proposed residential development has been assessed against the provisions of the Bass Coast Planning Scheme and meets those requirements. And so I'm happy with the result of the development. I believe this is a better outcome with this application. I think there's been consultation with the applicant and the officers. So thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Lasserve. Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd only add that I think that we've all spoken quite a lot about affordable housing in this chamber. I agree with everything that councillor Lasserve has said, but I'd just add that it also will give that opportunity to people to be able to afford to move into Bass Coast, and anything that does that is exciting for me. So I'll be supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, councillor Lasserve, do you wish to reply, or we put it to the vote?
Mr Mayor, put it to the vote. Thank you.
Those in favour? Against? That's carried. H2 planning application 210247, 24 the Esplanade envelope. Mr Sturton will introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present to council amended plans and conditions that have arisen from the VCAT appeal process for planning application 210247 at 2 to 4 the Esplanade envelope. The proposed amendments include a reduction of the overall development height, amendments to the apartment mix and design, traffic corrections and condition alterations. When originally advertised, there was a total of 30 objections and 1 submission of support. There are 5 respondents to this VCAT appeal. The proposed amendments have been assessed and it is advised that council informed VCAT that it does not support the reinstatement of the 4th level, does support the removal of condition in 18 and 19 which relates to on-site management, does support the amendment to condition 25 relating to development timeframes, does support the amendment to the apartment type of mix changes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Sturton. Can I have a councillor to move and a councillor second? That's just Councillor Dasari and a seconder. Councillor Rooks. Councillor Dasari.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is again been floating around for a little while now. This one, this is a case of the council stating its position to go back to VCAT, which I'm fully supportive of the position that they are taking. The fact that this has gone to VCAT gave the applicant the opportunity to go back to the original drawing board almost. And this is the council putting it back to where they worked really hard through the planners to get to a position that we're all comfortable with, including members of the community that we spoke with. So I'm happy to support this.
Thank you, Councillor Dasari. Councillor Rooks.
I think just the thing I wanted to add was, even though that the developers made an effort to reduce the height of the building, that the 4th floor bar is still not, it's a bit of an eyesore and not required really for this hotel. So I'm glad that the council officers have supported this position.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Any other councillor wish to speak to this motion?
Mr. Mayor, I just have a question if I can.
Sure.
Of the officer, Mr. Sturton, if possible. Given this is going back to VCAT now, does that mean that the work that council officers put in to get to a point could be overturned and the original application go back to its original format?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, that's correct, Councillor Halstead. So the proponent is proposing, as appeal council's initial position of removing the 4th level, and I'm looking to have that reinstated. So there's both the proponent a party to the VCAT appeal, as is the objectors.
Thank you, Mr. Sturton. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, yeah, do you wish to speak or you're happy with?
I'm just concerned that we may end up in a worse position than we had managed to negotiate, given that it's going before VCAT. VCAT do often revert back to the initial application, but I guess that's the process that has to be followed now. So nothing further to add, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Lark.
Thank you. I simply reiterate my opposition to this development and will not be supporting the further recommendation, which in my view will still enable an unsatisfactory planning outcome for this sensitive location in Inverloch. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lark. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, Councillor Dasari.
Put to a vote, Mr. Mayor.
Put to a vote. Those in favour? Against? It's carried. Brings us to H3, planning application 220287 6 to 12 Worley Avenue, Cowes. Mr Sturton to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present planning application 220287, which seeks to construct 2 5-storey apartment buildings with an associated visitor car parking reduction and vegetation removal at 6 to 12 Worley Avenue, Cowes. The land is zoned residential growth zone and is subject to design and development overlay, design and development overlay 13, the vegetation protection overlay. The application was advertised and received 4 objections. This application is before council as the cost of development is estimated to be $25 million. The application has been assessed against the Bass Coast Planning Scheme and it is recommended that council issue a notice of decision to grant the planning permit. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Sturton. Have a councillor to move and a councillor second. Councillor Rooks, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Rooks.
Thank you, Mayor Whelan. This is a great outcome for this development site, a key site within the township of Cowes, the old Worley Hospital site. 91 apartments, all within walking distance to town. It's an appropriate location to have an increased housing density. And I'm really pleased with the range of apartments being offered, which will suit all users, both residential and tourists. also singles to families. I like the split building look and the setbacks. They let a lot of light in, which makes the site a lot more pleasant to look at. They've made an effort to green the site with some good revegetation work, a range of large trees, shrubs and ground cover. And if it comes out anything looking like the image on page 42 they've supplied, it'd be very pleasing. They've also gone to the trouble of having 112 bike spaces to promote active transport, which is pleasing as well. And they're supporting a crossover, a pedestrian-friendly crossover from their site towards town, which is again a good initiative from this developer. So I'm really pleased with this application.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. It's been a long time in coming, and with the new community hospital begun, we can finally, without a qualm, say goodbye and close the chapter on the Worley Hospital. This site, together with the Isle of Wight, has been considered one of the two big iconic sites of Cowes. That being said, there's nothing small about this development. 91 apartments of various configurations, 117 car park bays and 112 bicycle bays. I truly hope that every one of those bicycle bays will be necessary. The architects have designed a sympathetic plan for the area, and I'm pleased that the developers have taken into account our planning regulations and haven't gone for high creep considering the special 5-story limit that's already been agreed to for this site. My only misgiving is that I do believe that the Cowes Street Master Plan, very next item of business today, must incorporate this development into it, as it will make such a big impact on the Cowes footprint. I would like to see this development better connected to Thompson Avenue. However, that being said, I will be voting for this proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Any other councillor wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I need to add that I did have some conversations with officers around this project, given, you know, I guess the focus of Worley Avenue and it's such a prominent site. And in those conversations, I'd like to congratulate the officers for their ability to negotiate such a well-done application in a very short frame of time. And it just goes to show that when developers work with our officers and they address all of the concerns that council may have in relation to an application, that it can come through fairly quickly. So 3 to 4 months, I think, when I spoke to the officers, that it's taken for it to get to this stage. And that's just a fantastic outcome. So I congratulate the planning department and I congratulate the developer on addressing all of the concerns that council had in this application. And I'm with Councillor Rooks. I think it's a great application and will be a terrific addition for the community of Cowes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak to the motion? If not, Councillor Rooks, do you wish to reply? I shall put it.
Put it to the vote.
Put it to the vote. Those in favour? That's carried. Cowes Street, let's start again. H4, Cowes Streetscape Master Plan. Mr. Sturton to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this report is to present the Cowes Streetscape Master Plan for adoption by council after a period of community and stakeholder consultation. The Streetscape Master Plan delivers higher level concept designs that will guide the delivery of future streetscape works within the Cowes Activity Centre. The Streetscape Master Plan is guided by 4 project principles: connect the town to the foreshore, reinvigorate the character of Cowes, connect the 2 ends of town, and flip the transport modal hierarchy in favour of pedestrians and sustainable mobility. Significant community consultation and stakeholder engagement has been undertaken, which included digital and print medias, the Engage Post website, face-to-face and drop-in sessions, and through council social media channels. As a result of the consultation findings, 3 amendments have been made to the draft plan: retaining northbound traffic along Thompson Avenue between Chapel Street and the Esplanade, provide a mixture of parking types along Thompson Avenue, and retaining the roundabouts at the intersections of Thompson Avenue and Chapel and Church Streets. I'm pleased to present the Cowes Streetscape Master Plan to council for adoption. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Sturton. Is there a mover and seconder for this motion? Councillor Rooks, you nearly moved it there, Councillor.
Yes, I thought that.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Tassari. Councillor Rooks.
Thank you, Mayor Whelan. Overall, this is a very positive master plan, which has been well received by the community. And there is a bit of a sense of history here. It's the last piece in the puzzle to complete the 2015 Cows Activity Centre plan. A lot of work's already gone into the area of Cows with the transit centre, the cultural centre is underway, the jetty triangle is completed, and planning controls for the commercial area. And this is the last piece in the puzzle. And the Cows Streetscape Master Plan is there to improve the shopping experience in Cows' main retail precinct. And one of the key focuses was the bottom end of Thompson Avenue, which is looking at creating a mall-style precinct with pedestrians as a prioritised transport choice, opportunities for activations along the street, market stalls, buskers and shops extending their trading area. And this master plan goes a long way to achieving this pedestrian mall. Personally, however, I think we could have gone further and had a southbound one-way system for vehicles as opposed to the northbound that's been proposed in this recommendation. I think the one-way southbound system would have better aligned with the vision of this streetscape master plan and the previous work completed with the Cows Access and Movement Study. Whereas mentioned by Mr Certain, one of the key principles is to flip the transport model hierarchy in favour of pedestrians over the vehicles. And if we wanted to be true to that principle, it would introduce a southbound vehicle access. What this would mean would we have less vehicles in the mall. Notwithstanding this argument, I'm pleased with the many positive changes that will be occurring under this streetscape master plan, and I support the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you for that thoughtful analysis as well, Councillor Rooks. This is a fantastic piece of work that has been a long time in the making. It sort of does cap off what has been a lot of effort by council in the last few years, but try and, I guess, spark up the crown in the jewel, which is the bottom end of Thompson Avenue. I too, I understand what Councillor Rooks is talking about it regarding the traffic, but I think a couple of things to take away that ultimate feel of arrival at Cows to when you get to that last roundabout and you drive down through Thompson Avenue and you're looking down over the water and the view that you have there, and that sense of arrival to Cows is something special. To lose that and send the traffic around the other way and back up just takes away that sense of arrival. But I do understand what is said about getting the cars out of the main street and allowing people to walk around and cycle around. But I think we can have it both ways, and I think this will also encourage people to continue to shop in the main street as well, so the shopkeepers won't lose out as well. So it's a win-win and a great piece of work to everyone involved.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Any other councillor wish to speak to this motion? Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, fellow councillors and ratepayers watching this meeting. When the Cows Street Master Plan was released for the community consultation, I said at the time, we need to be transparent and show all four options: traffic going northward, traffic going southward, traffic going both ways, and even a total pedestrian mall. The plan released to the community only showed the traffic going southerly in a southerly direction. I'm glad that even with what can only be called push polling, the general consensus, as borne out by the officer's report, is for the traffic to go down the hill in a northerly direction. This also coincides with the feedback I've received from many residents and traders who contacted me and were alarmed about the southerly direction. I believe this master plan is short-sighted. As I said during the last item of business, the Cows Street Master Plan must incorporate the new improved Worley site because it will have such a big impact on the Cows footprint. We should also include a new precinct using a redeveloped jetty. I've published a paper, both local papers, that we can revitalize the jetty, including the contentious car ferry, cruise ships and retail hospitality. A master plan should be visionary. The plan should be anticipate how Thompson Avenue and the new Isle of Wight development can seamlessly be integrated into the jetty. Creating an overall experience of enjoying the sweet spot, as our previous mayor, Pam Rothfield, called it, is what the master plan should be about. Cars and pedestrians are definitely part of this, but there should not be the overriding factor for the exclusion of anything else. I think that the master plan is fallen short of its potential. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Any other councillor wish to speak?
Can I just ask councillor Bauer, when he says that it?
No, I don't think
Ask the
we
question.
won't be clarifying with councillors. If you want a clarification, technically, we'll go to the officer.
Okay, I can't.
Do you want to speak?
No, thank you, Mr
Any
Mayor.
other councillor wish to speak?
I do.
Yes, councillor Lasserve.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And look, I'd just like to say that it's a great report, a great outcome for cows. The community spoke through all the engagement opportunities they had, and that wasn't just through our local papers, but media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. With 23,100 people being reached out to. Engage Bass Coast website, that's a great asset. That was 2,297 people. There were surveys completed. Maybe it's not 100% right, but it's a work in progress, and I think Cows deserves this, and I think we should wholeheartedly support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, councillor Lasserve. Any other councillor wish to speak?
Can I ask a question, Mr Mayor, of Mr Sturton in
Certainly.
relation to this master plan? Because I think what I'm getting from councillor Bauer is that, is it still possible if there was interest in extending the jetty to accommodate for ferries and cruise liners, that is a possibility further down the track? I understand it would be state government handled, but is that still a possibility of working that further down the track?
Councillor, Mr. Now I'm totally confused. Mr. Sturton.
Thank you, General Manager Wheeler. Through you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Halstead, it would still be possible to retrofit something within the streetscape towards the jetty triangle. Where we're at the moment is we're working within the goalposts that we know we actually have. So the next stages of work for this particular project will be the detailed design of a certain amount of work within the streetscape of Cows, and we'll be focusing on that.
And just confirming through you, Mr Mayor, so the possibility of a jetty or that would accommodate for ferry or cruise liners is something that the state government would need to look into?
That's my understanding.
Correct.
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Do you wish to speak?
That's it.
Okay. Any other councillor wish to speak?
Speaking, someone doesn't want to speak.
Councillor Lang.
Very briefly, Mr Mayor, having been involved in the final stages of approval for the Wonthaggi Activity Centre Master Plan and Streetscape Master Plan, I know how hard it is to get the community to agree on what the best way forward for the main activity centres is. And I think that this Cows Streetscape and the master plan has, I really commend the traders and the community for working collaboratively on this. I also wanted to add, as chair of the Access and Inclusion Advisory Committee, we recently toured Erewhon Point to the Esplanade. So consultation is out on that, and I really encourage the community to provide feedback on that access in Erewhon Point, which will ideally align with the Streetscape Master Plan.
Thank you, councillor Lang. Any other councillor? We're running out of council. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, councillor Rooks?
Put it to a vote.
Put it to a vote. Those in favour? Against? That's carried. H5, skate park review on pump tracks. Mr. Kennedy to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to seek authorisation from council to place the skate park strategy review on public exhibition for community comment throughout January and February 2023, and to respond to the petition received at the September 2022 ordinary council meeting by establishing a working group to identify potential suitable locations for contracts across the Shire and develop a program for implementation. The draft skate strategy review undertaken by PLACE recommends that 2 sub-regional skate parks be constructed within the 2 main population centres of the Shire, Phillip Island and surrounds, and Wonthaggi, rather than the one centrally located regional skate park as previously proposed. Community consultation will now be undertaken through council's Engage Bass Coast site via pop-up sessions at skate parks across the Shire during the school holidays in January to ascertain feedback in relation to the draft skate park strategy review. Council officers will also prepare terms of reference for the proposed working group to be brought back to council for endorsement at the February 2023 council meeting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Kennedy. Do I have a mover? Councillor Tassari, and seconded Councillor Holstead. Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good report. Looking forward to this going out and getting and seeing the feedback that comes back. To have it sit out there for a couple of months is fantastic. Again, I encourage everyone to have a look and comment on it. This is, we do a lot of these reports. Sometimes you might think we do too many of these community consultations, but it's the opportunity to hear back from the community and to see what their thoughts are on a lot of these things. I'm also encouraged by the thought process of 2 sub-regional skate parks, one on either side of the Shire, which makes a little bit more sense than trying to find one in a central spot that we've obviously had a lot of trouble over the years finding. So very, very good report. I look forward to it going out.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I congratulate council on its delivery of upgrades of new skate parks across the Shire. Since the adoption of the 2018 skate strategy, council's invested significant funding into skate facilities. So far with local facilities in Coronella, Grantville, Cowes, and we're really excited in Western Port for the Kilcunda facility where construction will begin soon. It's been a long wait for skaters in the communities of San Remo, Newhaven and Cape Woolamai who were excited about the prospect of a regional skate park in their area a couple of years ago. Council created that expectation for that area where there's a high proportion of surfers, skaters and BMX bike riders and a very minimal recreational space across those areas. We have seen significant vegetation damage in Cape Woolamai Reserve where our young people have taken things into their own hands, taken matters into their own hands and created their own tracks. I do think it's important that council take a Shire-wide approach with this and I do support that. However, given the history of the issue, I'm hoping that Newhaven, San Remo and Cape Woolamai locations will be looked at as a priority by council where we did create that expectation. These areas have a large population of young people with a serious lack of infrastructure, as I said before. I'm also pleased to see that council's forming a working committee to consider the options for pump tracks across Bass Coast in response to the petition tabled by the Cape Woolamai community recently. So I am encouraging the community to get involved with the consultation. This is the opportunity. This strategy is now going out for public consultation. So please, I'm encouraging all those who have an interest to ensure that they put forward their views. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Any other councillors to speak? Councillor Rooks.
Yeah, I thought I might just clarify pump tracks, just for those who are unsure, but a pump track is, I guess, a delightful little moulded area where you can send your skateboard around, or you could be on your scooter, you could be being pushed on a pram even, or you could ride a bike. So they're quite multifunctional, multi-purpose things, which is fantastic because I think that responds to our community's needs. We are a culture here of living outdoors, surfing, skating, bike riding and scooters. So I'm very pleased that we're looking at pump tracks and the possible budget be going into design money next year as well. So fantastic recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Any other councillor? Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. Look, first off, I will be supporting this. The main reason being when it's finally finalised after all the consultation, it'll set us up for future grant applications and moving everything along. But I'd like the community to really look at this. With the last strategy, we did have a working committee that came up with a strategy, and as been mentioned already, unfortunately, that we didn't achieve their outcomes. So I would like the community to put their thoughts there and to be a little bit realistic in regards to timelines for certain areas. A concern for me is the cows area, what people call the carnival site, as to whether we would achieve a skate park in that area, possibly for quite a time. I would suggest not. But please put your comments down. That's what we need, because as been proven in the past, the community has the power to control these things. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Kent. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Lang.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'm encouraged by the review of this skate track, and I encourage the skate strategy as well as the working group for the pump tracks across the Shire. It's really encouraging to see that the design of the Wonthaggi sub-regional skate park is placed as a short-term priority for the strategy, given the current condition of the Wonthaggi skate park. The existing facility and the renewal works are left wanting there. The bowl is really deep and generally inaccessible for the range of skill levels of its users. And this observation is consistent with what I've heard from the community. So it's really encouraging to see that. I've also heard feedback on the Inverloch skate park, so I do encourage the community to provide additional feedback so that we can get a better picture of where the community would like to see more action on what is it, scooters, trams and BMXs and roller skates and all of the things that people can put on wheels.
Thank you, councillor Lang. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, councillor Tessari.
I'm actually going to just say one last thing, if I can, Mayor Whelan. I've had a couple of families out of Cape Patterson pushing for some time now to get some kind of skate park or pump track at Cape Patterson. So I suggest to those people who won't be watching, but anyway, I might get back to them. But I suggest to those people in the community of Cape Patterson to get involved with consultation, because as we've heard, the last lot of consultation, the community of Kilcunda got heavily involved and now have themselves a skate park going in. So get involved, because it's the squeaky wheel seems to gets noticed. So I encourage everyone at Cape Patterson to get out there and have their say.
Well, you have to be in it to win it.
Have to be in it to win it.
We'll put that resolution, that motion. Those in favour? That's carried. 8.6 draft urban forest strategy. Ms Kennedy to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to provide council with an update on the development of the draft urban forest strategy and present the draft for community consultation. The draft urban forest strategy is the first of its kind for Bass Coast. It directly supports the delivery of the council plan 2021 to 2025, the community vision 2040, and is a key action identified in the climate change action plan. The draft strategy looks to provide a framework for council and others in our community to work together and grow a healthy urban forest across Bass Coast. Following an extensive program of community consultations, feedback will inform a final draft for council endorsement in the first half of 2023. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Ms Kennedy. Can I have someone move the motion? Councillor Holstead. Councillor Rooks. Councillor Holstead.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I find this strategy really exciting for the Bass Coast. I think it's going to further complement the work that's been carried out in partnership with Landcare. Anything that encourages the planting of trees, in my view, is a positive step, and the difference that the strategy will make in greening Bass Coast is going to deliver so many benefits of health and wellbeing for our community. So I'm not going to go into all of the reasons why this strategy is terrific, but I certainly am pleased to see it. And I look forward to the work being carried out on the ground. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Councillor Rooks.
Thank you, Mayor Whelan. Yeah, I'm very supportive too of this great initiative. So well done to the council officers on getting it to this point. It's really important with regards to adapting to the effects of climate change, specifically urban heat in our urban areas. It increases the amenity of our streets, and with those trees will come further wildlife, particularly birds. It's more than just planting trees though, this urban forest strategy. It also has, it looks at ways that we can better protect our significant trees. So I'm pleased about that. And also there's opportunities in there for us to take better action on weed management. Weeds are a massive issue. People may not be aware, but you can still actually buy some weeds from our local shops. So it's unbelievable that we're selling weeds and then we have hundreds of volunteer hours trying to pull them out of different places. So I hope that this strategy can focus on those areas as well. I'm looking forward to the community feedback.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Any other councillor wish to speak to this motion? If not, Councillor Halstead, shall we put that?
Happy to put that, thanks, Mr.
Okay, those in favour? Against? That's carried. H7, instrument of appointment and authorisation. Mr Mack to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to recommend that council appoint the named officers as authorised officers under the Planning and Environment Act 1987 and the Environment Protection Act 2017 and its associated instrument of delegations, as well as revoke authorisation to officers that no longer require it. Recommended changes to instruments of appointment and authorisation will be made to implement council's decision. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mack. Councillor Kent, a seconder. Councillor Lang. Councillor Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. This is purely operational to allow the council officers to carry out their duties where required. I'm happy for it to go.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Lang.
Same, Mr Mayor.
Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, we'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried. Brings us to H8, which is the review of instrument of subdelegation Environment Protection Act 2017, council to staff. Mr Mack to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to update the staff positions within the instrument of self-delegation Environment Protection Act 2017 from council to staff, with the major change to add the role of General Manager Resilient Communities to the instrument. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Mr Mack, the councillor to move. Councillor Lang, seconder. Councillor Kent. Councillor Lang.
This is operational again and allows us to comply with all of the requirements of the Local Government Act. So,
thank you, Councillor Kent.
Fine, thank you.
I presume you're happy for us to put that, Councillor Lang. Those in favour? Against, that's carried. H9, award of tender number 22016, construction of Wonthaggi Croquet Club Pavilion. Mr Sturton to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to consider tender award for tender number 22016, construction of the Wonthaggi Croquet Club Pavilion. These works will construct a new pavilion based within the Wonthaggi Recreation Reserve that will provide modern sporting infrastructure and associated amenities for the Wonthaggi Croquet Club. Project is supplemented by successful grant funding of $459,000 from Sport and Recreation Victoria and $25,000 from the Wonthaggi Croquet Club. The assessment of this tender has been conducted in line with the Council's quadruple bottom line policy. It's recommended that Council award tender number 22016 to TS Construction for the contract sum of $661,500 plus GST, noting the budget increases outlined in the report. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Sturton. Mover for that report. For the motion, rather. Councillor Lang, seconded. Councillor Lasserve. Councillor Lang.
thank you, Mr Mayor. The Wonthaggi Croquet Club have been eagerly awaiting this project to come to tender. It's taken a while, and part of the reason for that was because of the consolidation of power that was required to be undertaken for us to comply with the regulations under AusNet. I'm really pleased that this is coming before council, having witnessed the work of TS Constructions at the Phillip Island Croquet Club, Cowes Croquet Club. It's the Croquet Club on the New Haven Reserve. Having been there for the opening, I've seen the work that they do, not only the club, but also TS Constructions in the construction of it. So I'm looking forward for this to occur.
Thank you, Councillor Lang. Councillor Lasserve.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'm happy to support the recommendation. I think it's exciting times for the Wonthaggi Croquet Club to finally get a home that's fit for purpose. Just like to acknowledge that they contributed $25,000 also towards the project, and the balance coming from council, as well as Sport and Rec putting money in as well. So happy to support.
Thank you, councillor Lasserve. Any other councillor wish to speak?
Can I just add?
Yeah.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to thank councillor Lasserve for pointing that out. Often when we do these projects, the community have done a lot of fundraising and they do contribute to the project. So I thank councillor Lasserve for pointing that out. 25,000 is a good effort. Well done.
Thank you, councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak? Not councillor Lane?
To a vote.
Put it to a vote. Those in favour? That's carried. H10, award of tender number 22022 ICT Managed Services. Mr Mack to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to recommend council accepts the tender submission and awards contract number 22022 for ICT Managed Services to Cirrus Networks Victoria Proprietary Limited for a 4-year period for the sum of $1,151,184 plus GST. There are 2 extension options of 1 year each available under the contract. The tender from Cirrus Networks has been assessed as providing the best overall value for money and will provide a broad range of support for our IT services, including end-use computing, application support, networks, infrastructure, cybersecurity, cloud and disaster recovery. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mack. Can I have a councillor to move and councillor Lane, a seconder? Councillor Lasserve. Councillor Lane.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This award of tender will result in $250,000 over 4 years saved to Basco Shire Council. So I'd like to congratulate the council officers in consistently and constantly seeking efficiencies for council services at delivery, which in turn results in a return for ratepayers' investment in our council. So it's also important, I just note at this time, given all of the cybersecurity risks that have been occurring, that the Audit and Risk Committee has a standing line item of cybersecurity so that it's consistently monitored by our council. And I think that the work that's done by the Business and Transformation Department has been really, really positive. We are constantly reminded as a council, as councillors, to keep up our cybersecurity awareness, and I'm learning new things every day. So thank you for that.
Thank you, councillor Lane. Councillor Lasserve.
Nothing further to add. Thank you, Mr.
Any other councillor wish to speak to this motion?
Can I just add on that, Mr Mayor, that, councillor Lang made some good comments there about the work that the Business Transformation Department is doing. And when it comes to cybersecurity, I know that I've been receiving training that gets sent to us councillors regularly, and I'm pleased to be receiving it because there have been moments where I have been caught out, and luckily our security systems have stopped me from causing any real damage. So I just wanted to add that I'm thankful for that training. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Holstead. Any other councillor wish to speak? Councillor Bauer.
Thank you. Being the victim of one of these scams, as all councillors know, I fully support this. And all I can say is it's well worth whatever money we do. I could have saved $500.
Any other councillor wish to speak to this motion? I might add that it's not really about cybersecurity, it's about the management of our IT services. But anyway, councillor Lang, you happy for us to put that report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Those in favour? Against, that's carried. Bass Coast, so that's H11, Bass Coast Community Awards Program. Mr Box to introduce the report, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The purpose of this report is to recommend that council move the current Citizen and Youth System of the Year awards from late January to May each year. These are local awards that celebrate local achievement. The shift in date to National Volunteers Week in May provides a strong platform for celebration. The timing will offer more opportunity for participation and engagement in the nomination process. Citizenship ceremonies will continue to be held on Australia Day. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Box. Moved by councillor Rooks, seconded. Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mayor Whelan.
Rooks. Councillor Rooks, rather.
That's okay. I support this recommendation. I'm pleased that the focus will be stronger on community as opposed to the Australia Day Award. And many communities are moving away from celebrations in and around Australia Day, and this recommendation supports that initiative. It's another positive that aligns to Volunteer Week. Many award winners are volunteers. And notwithstanding the notice of motion we had earlier in the piece today, it's appropriate that with this change we review the format and categories.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Councillor Holstead.
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I see this as a really positive move to have our community awards in National Volunteer Week. I do understand that there may be some questions around why council has made this move in relation to Australia Day. My personal view on that is that Australia Day is handled by the federal government, and it will be the federal government that makes any decision around Australia Day. But in relation to celebrating our community and the citizens, I think this is a great move. It brings more focus to it. I attended the Business Awards this year, which I thought were absolutely brilliant. And the mood in that room was really exciting. And I hope that by moving this to this timeframe in Volunteer Week, that the same sort of celebration will be, and excitement will be around those citizens that the Business Awards get. So I think it's a terrific move, and so I'll be supporting it. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead. Any other councillor? Councillor Tassari.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Michael, you might want to get your camera ready because I won't be supporting this. And it's purely because I enjoy the awards. I enjoy having the awards when we have them. I have nothing against the National Volunteers Day or the week in May. I think that's a fantastic idea. We don't at the Shire here do anything outside of these awards on Australia Day to celebrate Australia Day. And I think it'd be a shame to take these awards away. I know I have attended, I think, every one of them since I've been here, and they're always a cheerful event. And I also go to the Rotary Australia Day ceremony where it's always a cheerful display of pride for our nation. It's done respectfully, and I would hope that they can continue on. And I know I'm probably a minority, but I'm having my say anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Tassari. Councillor Kent.
Just before, Mr.
No. Councillor Kent.
Just a point of clarification.
No, we can only call a point of order. I'm not doing clarifications on people's speeches, but I've already called Councillor Kent. I'll come to you after that, Councillor Holstead.
Thank you, Mayor. I hope we haven't started a conflict within Western Port Ward councils. I won't be supporting this, so you're not a minority. Councillor Tassari. Australia Day for me is a day that I feel very proud to be an Australian. And it's a day for me to think of all the different nationalities that we have within Australia. I used to work in an area where we had 270 different nationalities in that council area back in Melbourne. For me, it's also a day where I remember the mistakes that our country has passed through. But for me, it's a day that I'd love to recognise somebody who's Australian as a citizen of the day. It just means so much to me as an Australian born. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Holstead.
Oh, I just wanted to clarify. I thought that we did have a celebration in citizenships, because I think Councillor Tassari said that it's the Citizen of the Year is the only thing that we do as a council on Australia Day, but don't we hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day? Yeah, okay. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Didn't wish to speak further?
I think.
Okay, Councillor Lefeu.
I can speak more if you like.
Oh, apologies, I didn't
I can
realise.
speak more if you like, Mr Mayor.
Lost my way there. Councillor Lefeu.
Okay, thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I think that we don't want to confuse two things here. Let's not confuse the issues. We're talking about the Bass Coast Community Awards Program, and we recommended that we move the Bass Coast Citizens of the Year Award and Young Citizenship of the Year Award to the week that we celebrate the National Volunteers Week. We're not saying let's not celebrate Australia Day. That's not what the argument here is about or the debate. We will still be doing citizenship awards as we do on Australia Day, as we do on other occasions when the numbers build up for people to take that prestige opportunity for them and their families. So it's not about not having the barbecues or the funding to go to, Pioneer Bay's great day that they have out there, or the other things that communities do. This is about just moving those to that Bass Coast Citizen Award to the community or the Volunteers Week in May that we do all our other awards. So I think we need to be clear about that. Am I right to point of clarification from any of the officers who'd like to dispute what I'm saying?
Mr. Bock, did you get what the question was?
No, that's correct.
I'm correct. I thought I was. Thank you. I didn't want to be going along spinning some tale that wasn't right. But
We'll continue to hold citizenship ceremonies on that day.
Exactly. And often I've seen it over the years that and Rotary and other community organisations do such a fantastic job, but the Bass Coast Citizenship of the Year Award gets kind of lost in a lot of their procedures, their ceremonies, and I think this is an opportunity to take it and put it and re-establish it and have a re-look at it with our other awards programs. Last year, we didn't get any nomination for Young Citizen of the Year Award the last 2 years. And the nominations are down often for, the Bass Coast Citizen of the Year Award. And some years we've had 5 people nominate. I mean, we can do better than that. We've got some brilliant people in this community, and I think that we should give them the opportunity for our community to make those nominations and bring them forward and celebrate that then. We're not losing anything, we're just changing.
Thank you, Councillor Lasserve. Councillor Lang.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Lasserve. Said what I was going to say, so I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Any other councillor wish to speak? If not, Councillor Rooks.
Yeah, when I was listening to the other comments too, I had the same thought as Councillor Lasserve, and thank you for saying all those things. It's me saying it all. But I agree. I think the two individual things the Australia Day can gain from this and the community awards celebrations can gain from this. So I think by separating, there's actually a win. So well done for saying all those words.
Thank you, Councillor Rooks. Those in favour? Those against? That's carried. That brings us to statutory reports. Can I have a councillor move that agenda items 1.1 through 1.8 be considered as a block, please? Councillor Bauer, Councillor Lasserve. Those in favour? Against, that's carried. Any councillor wish to speak to any or draw attention to any of those reports? No. Can I have a councillor move that the recommendations attached to items 1.1 through 1.8 be adopted? Councillor Bauer, Councillor Tessari, those in favour? That's carried. It brings us to item J, urgent business. There is no urgent business that I've been notified of. And then it brings us to announcement of the next meeting of council. The next council meeting will be held on the 15th of February 2023 in the Bass Coast Civic Centre, Council Chamber, Baylieu Street East, Contagee, commencing at 1 p.m. And now we have a resolution that the meeting be closed to members of the public pursuant to Section 66 of the Local Government Act 2020. Have a councillor to move and a councillor to second that. Councillor Tessari, Councillor, I think it was Councillor Lang. Oh, no, Councillor Lasserve. Those in favour? Against, that's carried. Now, thank you very much for watching Council's live stream of Council's meeting. The meeting will now be closed to the public, and that will end today's live stream. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a safe and happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.